The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
I always equated training to mental toughening.
Welcome to the Business Pump Podcast.
It has the potential to change your whole life.
Connect with fitness professionals and turn your passion for fitness into a successful business.
Hard work is the first, second, and third part of the formula.
You gotta keep moving, let's go. Don't quit till you got nothing left.
And now your host, Michael Groff.
What's up, Michael here, and welcome back to another episode of the Business Pump Podcast. Like always, if you're new here, on this show, I interview people who turn their passion for fitness into a successful business, and today's guest was absolutely fire. I mean, I had an amazing time talking with him. He had a ton of knowledge and a ton of experience in growing and scaling fitness businesses. So if you have a fitness business, I know you're going to get a ton of value out of this episode. But before I mention who our guest is, I quick want to let you know of the giveaway that we're doing in celebration of this podcast. We're giving away a brand new Theragun Mini to one lucky winner. If you want to enter for that giveaway, this giveaway is still on, so there's still enough time. You can just go over to fittermedia.com/BP. That's fitrmedia.com/BP. And you can find all the info on how to enter for the giveaway over there. But like I said, today's interview is absolutely insane. I got to interview Sean Garner. If you do not know who he has been in the fitness industry for around 12 years now. He started off building up his own CrossFit gym on the side while he was a firefighter. He then transitioned out of that job as a firefighter into full-time running his own CrossFit gym. We then go on to talk about how he got to write for Men's Health and do some things for that. He used a really cool way to get into Men's Health that a lot of people don't even think about, so stay tuned for that. But then we transitioned more into what he does currently, and currently he helps fitness professionals grow and scale their fitness business online, and he dropped a ton of tips and strategy on how you can do that. Two main things that we went over was how to find a target audience for a fitness business, and once you have your target audience, how to then find more people that match your target audience. It's extremely powerful, and it's some tips that I myself can take into my own business. Pretty much any business, even if you're not a fitness business, can take something away from this interview. However, I know you guys who have fitness businesses are absolutely going to love this interview. So without any further ado, here's the interview with Sean Garner. What's up, Sean, my man? How's it going?
Good, man. How are you? Thank you so much for the opportunity to come out here and hang out with you today.
Yeah, this is a super big honor. For those who don't listen, I'm going to give an intro of yourself, about you on the beginning of the podcast, but why don't you just give a brief overview of who Sean is and who Sean Garner is?
I just always tell everybody I'm just a kid from Oklahoma, but no, I'm a husband, father, and fitness professional. Been in the industry for a little over 11 years now, and been very blessed and had to have a lot of opportunities in the industry to honestly have worked in almost every aspect of it that there is.
Nice. I saw that you've been in the industry for almost 11 years now. Is that it?
Yeah, I think it'll be 12 actually. This May is whenever it's like my official fitness birthday as far as coming in the industry, because that's whenever I went to get my first CrossFit certification 12 years ago.
Oh yeah, that definitely attracted me to you, that you owned a few CrossFit gyms and things like that. Anytime someone brings up CrossFit, they're going to attract my attention. So we're definitely going to get into some things about your business down the road and some things that you've done in your fitness business journey over the past 12 years, because I know you've written for Men's Health and things like that. But first, where did this whole thing start with fitness? Like, were you always passionate about fitness? So basically, what's your fitness story?
Yeah, absolutely. So no, not at all. Like growing up, I was the skinny, dorky video game skateboarder kid that like sat by himself high school. Like I was not fit or athletic whatsoever. And after I graduated, I had a lot of different jobs. One of the ones that I was working at I was a restaurant manager, and honestly hated life. Like it was crazy long hours. All I did was I'd wake up was at the restaurant, come home, sleep, go right back to the restaurant, and absolutely hated it. And I was talking to a friend one day, and he just was always talking about how awesome his job was. I was the world's greatest job. And he was a firefighter. And I was like, man, that sounds like you have so much fun at work. He's like, dude, you would love it. He said, you should go and try it. So he said, it's very, very difficult and competitive to get on. So he said, if you just want to see what it's like, go to EMT school. So I ended up going to EMT school on the first day of class. The instructor was like, who wants to be a firefighter? And I was like, I want to be a firefighter. And he's like, well, I'm just going to let you know now, it takes years to get on. So if you're just taking this class to become a firefighter, it's probably not going to happen. I came home, I was super depressed. Like, man, this sucks. Like, I'm going to be stuck as a restaurant manager my whole life. So long story short, ended up applying at a couple of different departments and got job offers for both. Even though it was my first time applying. And once I got on at the fire department, that was whenever that whole process kind of found fitness, because before that, I was playing video games all day, man. I was like this little dorky kid. Like, thank God my wife stuck with me. And once I got on as a firefighter, I remember there's after you're getting on and you're assigned a shift, you get to meet all the families of the crew that you're working with. And I remember one of the wives from one of my firefighters I was working with, she looked me dead in the eye and she's like, are you really willing to risk your life to save and protect my husband? And I was like, okay, this is real. Like, this is not just like, let's go ride in the big red truck and drive really fast. Like, this is real. So that was kind of my big wake up call to where, like, I just don't need to be fit. Just like you hear things like, oh, health and just that stuff. Like, no. Like, literally my life and the lives of my brothers depend on that. So that's wherever it really kind of snapped into me and really got into fitness because one, it was a job requirement. And now it was like my brothers were relying on me.
That's really cool. I bet that held you accountable too. Like, not only were you trying to hit fitness for your own goals, but your fitness depended on like the protection of like your fellow guys.
Yeah, it wasn't just a fun thing or a hobby. Like, once I got into it, that's where like the real passion kind of came alive, because I had never been really shown a strength conditioning program or done any type of structured training program before, but it wasn't just a hobby or a fun thing. It was honestly a necessity. Like, my job required me to be able to pull out my brother, should he go down, or pull out a victim for rescue scenarios and stuff like that. So it wasn't just, hey, that sounds fun. It's like, no, you have to freaking be able to do this because lives are on the line.
I've always been a really fan of firefighters from their fitness level. And in fact,
they're just awesome people too.
I know too, right? And in fact, one of the biggest CrossFit gyms in my area was actually founded by our local fire department.
Awesome. They
found it as kind of like a way it's what they did to get fit. So like on the side, they started it and like it blew up to this like big CrossFit gym. But that's really cool that you mentioned that. So how long did you do firefighting from that point?
Yeah. So did that. That's funny that you mentioned that. So I was a firefighter, paramedic for about 5 years. And that's honestly what led me into opening up my gym, is because I had used CrossFit to get myself in really good shape and not only to get on at the fire department, but to also be able to be a better performer at my job. And I had been on for, I want to say about 3.5 or 4 years. And being a firefighter is awesome. One of the awesome things about it is on the shift I was on, you only work 10 days a month. So it's like 24 on, 48 hours off. So kind of defaulted back into old Sean, to where I was just sitting at home playing video games 20 days a month. And I remember my wife came home and she was like, listen, you got all this free time. Why don't you like start a business or something? Because lots of firefighters had like lawn companies, tile companies, like construction side jobs. And I had done a little bit of that. And she's like, what's something you'd like to do? And I was like, man, I really think that, this CrossFit thing would be fun. Like, what if I open up a CrossFit gym and everything like that? And whenever I opened the gym, honest to God, like the only goal for the gym was that way it would break even. So me and my firefighter buddies had a free place to work out. Like, that was the only goal. It was never to like turn it into like a real business or a job. Like, I wanted to break even. So I had a free place to work out. And then it obviously morphed it and grew into something much bigger than that.
At one point of opening your CrossFit gym, did you realize, hey, this could actually turn into an actual business? Did you kind of have that in the back of your mind the whole time, or did it kind of slowly progress and then you thought, hey, I could actually make a business out of this?
Yeah, it happened. Never was my intention at all. Like, I thought I was going to, retire out as like a 30-year fire captain or something. Like I plan on doing that the rest of my life. And it actually happened quicker than I would have ever assumed or planned. So actually, after being open only about 6 months, the gym was doing extremely well. And we're here in Oklahoma is where I'm actually back here now. But that's where we opened up the gym, is in this little suburb called Owasso, Oklahoma. And the gym was doing very, very well. So after we had been open 6 months, we had to expand and take over the building next to us next door because we were growing so rapidly. And then after 6 months from there, so after we'd been open just 1 year, I had to make a decision to where, did I actually want to stay on a fire department, or did I want to pay somebody to run this thing for me? Because it had gotten so big, it needed somebody there full time to make it happen. So talked to my wife, and we're like, okay, like, let's do this. Let's jump all in. Let's be entrepreneurs. Let's be gym owners. Ended up leaving the fire department, and literally the last night of my shift at the fire department, I ended up taking a half shift. So I got off at like 7 p.m., went out to dinner to celebrate. Like, yeah, we're entrepreneurs. Like, let's go, let's do this and everything. No joke. That night, my wife was like eating like crazy, and we're making like jokes like, oh my God, are you pregnant or something? Turns out she was pregnant. And so she was actually pregnant with our first daughter. And not only was it like, you have incredible benefits as being a firefighter. So not only was it, I just lost it was going to cost me like $100 to have a kid. Now self-employed health insurance is like $1,000 a month. And so that like flipped the switch to where it's like, now it's go time for real, because not only is this your only source of income, but now you got a baby on the way too. And so that's when it like snapped, and it's like, okay, put the head down and time to go to work. But it was never did I assume that it was going to be like this big thing, or nor is going to open up a new career in the industry. Like, it's supposed to just be a cool place to work out, hang out for me and my firefighter buddies. And then when it happened, it happened very quick.
So how long did you own that CrossFit gym? Because I saw that you owned 2 CrossFit gyms. Did you kind of branch out into a second one, or did you start another one down the road? Yeah,
that's a great question. So what ended up happening is, so whenever I said it was time to go to work, I was serious. It was time to go to work. So after about 6 months from doing this full time, and being able to put all my effort into it, like, that's what I knew my wife and I had discussed when we were making the transition. Like, I had always just kind of like halfway been a business owner, halfway entrepreneur. And it was almost like it was a side business. It wasn't a real thing. And so I knew if it was doing this well with me halfway doing it, if I went all in, it would grow dramatically. And so after 6 months of going all in, there was actually another CrossFit gym about 1.5 miles down the road, and we were actually able to buy them out. And so we had those 2, and then we combined them all into like one huge facility, into this Owasso area and everything that we had. But so that's how that ended up coming up with both of those. And then we had those, I want to say probably about 3 years, and ended up going on a vacation. And it was like the very first time that I had actually even spent time with my daughter, because I was working like crazy. I was always at the gym. And I remember just sitting out on the beach. It was just me and my wife and our oldest daughter. We've got 3 kids now, but it was our oldest daughter. And my wife just looked at me, and I was like, man, this is so nice. Like, I haven't taken a vacation in years. Like, all the gym owners out there, they know what that's like. And my wife just said, well, what if we ask somebody to buy one of the gyms? So it was just the one, and maybe a franchise, start licensing, things like that. And I was like, what if I sold everything? Like, what if I just got rid of all the gyms and went and did something else? So I had a trainer at the time who was wanting to license one of the facilities from me, and ended up just going back to him. I was like, how'd you like all of this stuff? So ended up selling all the CrossFit side of my business over to him, and just kept a small little portion of the company. And it was that was like a part of I would say one of my quarter life crises that I've had, to where I sold the CrossFit site, and I just kept rights to this company called Primal Life Training, where what we did is so not only did I own the CrossFit gyms, but we had also had private contracts with some of the public schools, and we would do subcontracting strength conditioning work. So they might not be able to afford a full-time strength coach, but they could pay for like men's and women's basketball, the golf team, the tennis team. Because in most of the smaller schools, like the football team's the only team that has like a strength conditioning coach. So we went in there we had contracts with several of the local public schools, and we did that. Then I had a women's only boot camp that I had some instructors running for me. So I just kept that. And that was just I stayed at home for about 6 months and just kind of tried to figure out what I wanted to do with, life and with business. and ended up finding another fitness business to buy into. Is called MBSC Thrive. It's this famous strength conditioning coach. His name is Mike Boyle out in Boston, or actually in Walbur, Massachusetts. And he had the sports performance functional training studios, ended up buying into that licensing agreement and opening up a sports performance functional training facility here in Tulsa, Oklahoma after that.
Oh, nice. That's a ton of stuff. I wanted more transition now to online business centered around fitness. So I know you are really good at marketing. You've been on Men's Health as an editor and as an advisor, or was it
fitness advisor and writer.
Fitness advisor.
I created products for them. Yeah, it's actually, if anybody's watching the video, that was something my wife made me. Is one of the products that I made for them. Came out last year.
So how did you get started with Men's Health? Did you approach them? Did they approach you? Like, how did that get started?
Yeah, great question. So it actually came out of that sports performance facility that I opened up. So that had a loose partnership with Men's Health magazine, because Men's Health named that franchise or that licensing like the #1 gym in America, like 8 years ago or something like that. And so they had this show called Next Top Trainer, which is like American Idol for personal trainers. And I didn't want to do it. I was like, that's not me. And I had multiple of my members say, hey, you should do this. I think it'd be a good opportunity for you. And I was like, whatever. I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Like they're not gonna want to work with somebody like me. Ended up throwing my hat in the ring and getting accepted as like one of the 10 guys to go on the show. And whenever I got there, everybody's from like New York, Chicago, Miami, LA, Vegas, like Dallas, all these major cities, and then Sean from Tulsa. And ended up being on the show and ended up coming in second place. And so through that relationship, I was able to further in with Men's Health. Like, if the quick answer to how I got in with Men's Health, thank you cards. So I didn't win the show, and people that don't win don't get anything. But whenever I was there, I had one of my business coaches. He said, Sean, doesn't matter what happens on the show, get everybody's contact information and take a picture with them. And afterwards, write them a thank you card. So what I did is I wrote everybody that was on the show, like even the guys that were like running cameras and lights. And I took pictures with them. I wrote them a thank you card. And then afterwards I sent it off. Didn't hear anything for like 6 weeks. And then about 6 weeks later, I got a call from one of the editors saying, hey, thank you so much. I'm so sorry. We've been busy, editing the show and stuff. Just want to say thank you so much for the thank you card and the picture. That's so sweet. We're actually writing an article right now over pistol squats. And I know you're from the CrossFit world. Would you be able to help us with that? And I was like, absolutely. So I wrote that, turned it around really quickly. And then about a week later, they said, hey, that was so awesome. You turned that around so quickly. Would you be interested in writing an article for us, like how guys can get their first muscle up? And I was like, absolutely. So I did that and I turned that around really quick. And that just turned into another opportunity And I would always follow up with them, thank them for the opportunity. That led to doing social media content for them. And they would share my content on Instagram and stuff like that. And then that led to the guy that actually won the show. I got to go on his DVD and I was like backup talent for that, which that led to like doing huge, long production shoots. To eventually that led to me getting my own Men's Health fitness product that was called the 6 Week Sweat Off, which is at home fitness DVD and on their app and everything. And it's just led to bigger and bigger projects just because of the one thank you card that I sent to everybody, 6 years ago.
That's insane. I've heard, let me rephrase this. One thing I've really been learning in business is exactly what you just said right there. Some of the smallest things can be the most powerful and attract the most attention just because a lot of people don't do it. So like you sent thank you cards and like they probably weren't getting much thank you cards from anybody else.
Nobody did that stuff.
Yeah, that little act of kindness itself just brought you that huge opportunity. That's actually something I've been wanting to do to my clients, is like for significant days, like whether Christmas or something, just send them a gift for free. So that's just a huge reminder. So at that time, were you doing personal training, or what was your business at that time? Were you doing what you do now, where you help people grow their business? Like, what was your business at that time?
Yeah. So kind of a lot of stuff happened through that period. So whenever I first got in with Men's Health, that's whenever I went on that show. I had owned the sports performance facility. I was the strength conditioning coach for a minor league pro hockey team here in town. We were affiliated. We were the ECHL team for the NHL team, the Winnipeg Jets. And that gym actually ended up closing down. I closed it down. It failed miserably. But through that, it led me to opportunities to where we moved to Miami. And we actually spent the past 5 years in Miami, to where I worked as a personal trainer and general manager for the #1 gym in Miami called Anatomy. And I worked there for about 4 years. And then through that is where I learned a lot about like personal brand. Like it was never about me whenever I owned my facilities. I always made it about my facilities, but here I was, a personal trainer. And so that's where I really learned about a lot of like digital marketing, making it about your brand, starting to do online training. That's where I did a lot more of the social media content and product creation for Men's Health magazine. And what started happening is I was having all these other trainers and gym owners and stuff reaching out, asking questions about like, hey, how did you do this? Or, hey, I'm looking to do something in the online space, or, hey, I'm really looking to grow my social or add extra streams of revenue. Like, could you help me out with that? So I was just starting to help them. And then I was realizing like, man, I'm getting more questions about this than like fitness stuff. So maybe there's an opportunity here, because I've always loved the business side of fitness more than the act of training, if that may sound weird.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Why I started my first gym was not because I wanted to be a trainer, but I wanted to have a business, and I wanted to have something that was there. It's not because I wanted to train people. Originally, it was just so it would break even, and I had a place to hang out with my friends, and then it turned into a business. So as I was going through that transition process, I was realizing getting more and more and more of this. And then so I was started to do that about 3 years ago as just side project money. It's like, hey, yeah, I'll help people do one-off stuff. And then about 2 years ago, it was getting to the point to where I was making more money from the side project than I was, spending all day at the gym. So through that, whenever we found out would have been about 2 years ago, my wife was pregnant with our third kid, our son that was just born. He just turned 1. And she was like, you can't keep working like you're working. I think it's time that you just go all in with this. It's called EntreFit, my fitness consulting company. And she said, I know that you can make this work. So you can't keep doing what you're doing. So let's do this. So I ended up jumping all in with the fitness business coaching and consulting. And that was about 2 years ago. And it has been awesome.
I bet it's a lot more freeing too. You can work from home and not have to be at the gym all day.
All I need is my laptop and a Wi-Fi connection, and I can work anywhere. That's what's been awesome. Like we now as a family, especially like the past year was like crazy stressful because we moved back to Oklahoma to be closer to family. But the pro about it was we can take vacations all the time. Like we just went to Miami 6 weeks ago. We're going to a cabin in a couple of weeks. And then in a month after that, we're going to go to Arizona. Like as long as I have my laptop and Wi-Fi, like I can do work. It's awesome.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. So what kind of, do you specialize in a certain type of businesses? Do you consult like brick and mortar gyms, online fitness businesses, like personal trainers? Is basically, who do you help?
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely does. I always tell people I work with the real fitness professionals. So if you come to me, because of social media and everything, I have people reach out that they just want to grow their social media following. If that's what you're looking for, I'm not your guy. Like I'm looking for the people that are like, fitness is their career. Like they own a facility or multiple facilities. They are a full-time personal trainer, and they are looking to scale into the online. So if they're in person, they're looking to do the online personal training, selling products online. If they're a brick and mortar facility, they're looking to add that, hybrid model to where they're able to offer an online solution for clients as they travel or for clients that are afar. But that's who I help. I help the real fitness professionals that want to create, market, and scale their online fitness business.
That's really cool. So if I was a gym coming to you, like what would be the process you would take? Like the gym has no online experience. Like what would be the first few steps you would take to like to get their business being built online, if that makes sense?
No, yeah, that's a great question. I run everybody through a 5-step framework, whether they are a facility or an individual. And because what I always tell people is the strategy stays the same. Like the blueprint, the framework stays the same. And the individual tactics that we will use will change based upon whether you are a facility or if you are a person. Because what you'll learn is the more businesses you're involved with and everything, they kind of all need the same thing. They just need to be doing individual tweaks. It's just like with your fitness, right? If people move more and eat less, they're going to get results, right? It's the exact same thing with your business. If you follow this simple 5-step framework, you're going to get the results that you want for your online business. So the first thing that we run them through is just a foundation. And so this might sound like the cheesy stuff that nobody wants to do, but I find out if you skip this and the business isn't built on a solid foundation, it's going to crumble. So you need to know exactly what you're trying to do and build, because I think now online fitness and all that stuff is kind of buzzwordy-ish. And people say they want those things, but they don't really understand why they're trying to create those things. Like so you need to understand that. You need to know the goals that you're trying to shoot for with this business. Is this going to be just extra side money? Or you wanting to actually build this out to where you're going to treat it like a second facility? Or you wanting the online to be your full-time gig so you can leave your in-person stuff? Or you wanting somebody else to run? Like, there's so many things to think about. And I would say the biggest thing in that foundation is getting people to understand the mindset of an entrepreneur, because it's very different from being an entrepreneur versus like a business manager versus like an employee, and understanding that mindset. Like, guys, this is not going to happen overnight. If somebody tells you, pay them all this money and you're going to be a 6-figure trainer in 6 weeks, like, you might make that much money, but you're going to peak and fall flat really quick. Anything that's promising really quick results is often not sustainable. We see that all the time with fitness and nutrition. Anything that's going to produce immediate quick results most likely isn't going to be sustainable. So we want to make sure that we're building on a solid foundation that's sustainable. And the second thing that we want to do is we want to build our community. So in order to be successful online, you kind of got to create this tribe, this community, what you're going to be known for. Like, one of the things you just mentioned to me, like, who's your dream client? Like, who's your ideal and likely buyer? Who do you want to market to? Because this seems simple, but it's so difficult for so many fitness professionals, because this is the service industry. They want to help everybody, and they have the skills to help everybody because they're real fitness professionals. They're good at what they do. But it doesn't mean you can market to everyone, because if you try to appeal to everybody online with your marketing message, I know you do this with your SEO. If somebody wants to target, men's weight loss, men's weight gain, fitness for men over 40, high school athletics, like, they're not going to be successful because it's not going to work. You got to be known for something if you want to stand out. And if you even think about the people online that you follow and you like, they're probably really good and known for one thing, but it doesn't mean they can't do other things. And so it's building that community around the content that you create online to attract those people that you want to build. Then the third thing is you got to create an awesome offer. You got to create that irresistible, no-brainer offer that makes people want to engage with you, because right now they are flooded with marketing messages. Everybody's doing online training or some version of online training right now. So what is going to make yours stand out and actually deliver on the results that you say it is? Then the fourth thing is you got to build all the systems that support all of this stuff. So whether it be your marketing system, your follow-up process, website, SEO work, email marketing follow-up, your sales process, like, you got to build systems around all of that stuff to make it to where it's sustainable. And then the last thing is I say it's legacy. So this is where you're thinking bigger. This should be like, okay, what are you doing for employee benefits? Because you need to be thinking about, even if you're a solopreneur or online trainer by yourself, man, you need to think bigger. And we need to think about how we can bring other trainers underneath you to help write programs. We need to be thinking about things like retirement. Like, no fitness professional has that. They're living like, how many sessions do I need to do this month to pay my bills? Like, what are you doing for retirement? What are you doing for investment? What are you doing to legally set up your business? Like, what are you doing to possibly franchise it? And that's what we think about on the last step as far as legacy. And we just keep building this huge monster of a successful online fitness business.
Man, just from hearing you explain all 5 of those phases, I can easily see how your clients get huge success. So I definitely want to plug your business, your coaching business at the end. But let's go back a few steps to the first few that you mentioned. One of them was creating a target audience, or like branding yourself to like a specific audience.
Yeah.
What are some practical tips that a fitness business can do to figure out their target audience and like who they serve?
Yeah, that's a great question. And honestly, this is where once you figure this out, everything else gets so much easier. But there's 2 questions that I have every trainer or gym owner ask themselves first to kind of help refine the process a little bit more. Is one, who is your favorite client? Like, who's the person where every time they show up to the gym, every time they show up to the session, like, you're super pumped up, you're full of energy, and you're like, yes, this is going to be the best hour of my day because I get to hang out with this person. And whenever you think about that, write that person's name down and what makes you like them so much. Because a lot of times when people are identifying their target client or their market, they think too much about demographics and not psychographics. So demographics would be like age, sex, location, things like that. The psychographics are like the intrinsic characteristics of that person, like the things that they're thinking inside of their head. So whenever you're thinking about that person that you love training, what are those things that make you attracted to them? Because whenever you are talking about a target client, there's several different steps with it, but the most important is identifying the type of person, not necessarily the desired result or the niche that you're specializing in, but what type of person. Like, do you like the people that are like super hardcore, type A driven? They are going to never miss a session. They're no excuse makers. Like that, write down that stuff so you can figure out everything else that, breaks down from that. So first thing I have them do, who's your favorite client? Why are you your favorite client? What makes them so awesome? What makes you like working with them? Then the second question is, what type of client do you get the best results with? Like when they come into the gym or they sign a session, you're like pumped up because you're like, yes, I crush it with these. Is it like postpartum moms? Like they just had their kid and they're looking to get their fitness back. Is it, people that are just out of college, but they want to keep training like an athlete? Is it, for me, it was always men that were age 35 to 45-year-old dads that were working a lot and they just wanted really good workouts that didn't take a lot of time and that were really joint friendly because they had former athletic injuries and stuff. Like, who is it that when you get this client, you're like, yes, this is my person. I'm going to crush it with it. Because listen, when you're working with people that you love working with and you are doing something that you are just in your zone of genius that you just crush it with, you are going to love showing up to work every day. And so if you identify those things and you have an awesome target audience and community that you build, you're going to love showing up to work and it's not going to feel like work. It's going to be your calling and your mission for what you're supposed to do. Because I see so many people make the mistake whenever they start their online business, they create an online job and they create an online box. And all they have done is take some of the challenges that come with an in-person business and just made them go online. So they're still trading their time for money. They're still working with clients that they don't really like working with, and doing things that they don't want to do just because they're thinking short term and they're thinking, well, how many clients do I need to get this week to pay my bills? And they're not thinking about, instead of building, they built a job instead of building a business that serves them and their goals. That's why it's so important to start with that foundation of goals and stuff so you know what you're building before you build it.
That makes a ton of sense. And it's actually quite relatable from me in my business. When I first started, I was doing pretty much everything for everybody, just like you mentioned. And it's actually like really stressful. Like you said, pick the people you can get the biggest results for. And I noticed when I was taking jobs and clients from everybody and not really targeting a specific person, I would get stressed out on certain clients because I was like, I don't know if I can get results for this specific client, even though they were pretty similar, but it still can be really stressful because if you're going from different person to different person and the situation is different completely, especially in my industry, it can be really stressful. That's why I found it extremely helpful to do exactly what you said and like niche down almost.
Yeah. Like I said, like when you work with the people you love to work and you show up and you crush it every day, like you come home feeling like a champion, and it's easy to get results for people whenever they fall into those two categories. When they're people you like doing work with, you'll go the extra mile to, do everything that needs to make them successful. And whenever you're just operating in that zone of genius for yourself, like it's awesome.
I also found out too, that when you start working with a specific person, you all of a sudden get a confidence boost because you know you can get results for that type of person. And then when you're marketing to other people that are similar to them, your confidence is just like through the roof. It's like insane.
Yeah. And it makes marketing easier because instead of feeling like you have to be like this salesy, like, okay, what marketing tactic do I have to use to convince this person? They talk, play on their fears and benefit. Like whenever you are doing that and you're operating within those parameters, like you love marketing because it's not necessarily marketing. It's just sharing what you do to the people that you love to serve. It's so easy.
Mm-hmm. So once someone finds their target market, and so they did everything you said and they know exactly who they want to work with, who makes them excited to work with, how do they get more people like that?
Yeah, that's awesome. That's where a lot of people will skip over some of the foundational stuff because they just want to get right into like the, let's build a website, or I need to get an app and I need to start shooting all these exercise library videos and stuff like that. And they'll create a product and then they'll be like, okay, now who's going to buy this thing? Like instead of finding your tribe, then you find out, you know what needs they have. Then you create products that serve and add value to that tribe. So what's honestly awesome is if you truly know who you want to serve and market to, the internet is a huge place. You can find your people online. Like there is somebody who has already connected the group of people that you want to serve. Like I feel pretty confident nobody is out there creating new niches. Everybody that you're wanting to try and attract online, somebody has already done that. What I would say I see, and people might understand that concept, but what I see people kind of make the mistake is, well, all they just try to do is go find that niche already existed in fitness. And that's not what I'm saying. So let's talk about that mother, right? She just had her first kid. She's super excited, but now she knows she wants to get back in shape and everything. How would you connect with more people like that? You would not want to go in and find women's mother fitness groups. Somebody's already done that, right? Where you want to go is to become the expert in it and to stand out is you want to find other mothers groups that have nothing to do with fitness and go be the fitness expert in that group. So for example, it would be like stay-at-home mom groups on Facebook. There would be blogs that you could connect with that, emails like that, podcasts that you could go on and be the fitness guest to talk to them about that. One of my favorite resources is using Quora. Quora. It's a great resource where people are it's almost like Google for asking questions. Like people go on there. It's a social media, like Google-esque platform. And all people do is go in there and ask questions. So it's very, very easy to find and connect with people that you're looking to serve because they're literally just posting what questions they have. So if you want to talk about how to connect with people and stand out and know what content you should be creating, go to Quora, look at what your target market is searching for and questions they're asking, go create that content and send it to them. You're instantly going to look like an expert and be able to connect with more people just like that. The second big thing that I see people mess up on, or I shouldn't say mess up, not take advantage of the opportunity, is referrals. Like if you've truly found one of those people, guess what? Most likely a lot of their friends are just like that, or they know people just like that. So having a referral process set up for your business to where you're constantly asking for referrals is another big opportunity that I see people miss all the time.
It's funny you said that about Quora because I remember a few years ago when I didn't have this business and I wasn't as focused on anything business related. I would go and I'd search something, I'd see Quora and I'd go read it, read the answer, and I'd think to myself, who is just going and writing like 1,000-word answers just because they want to? Like, why are people doing this? And then a few years later, now that I'm into business stuff, I was like, I see what you're doing. I see it.
I see what you're doing there.
But it's funny you mentioned finding groups that aren't necessarily in your niche, but that hold your target audience. Because one of the guys I had on the show a few weeks ago, his name was Brian Parody, and he over the years built up a successful online personal training business. He started as a side hustle and now it's like almost a full-time gig. He still has his full-time job just because he loves it. Yeah. But it's a successful online training business. And that's actually one of the techniques he covered in the episode, is how he went to groups that had the guys he wanted to work with, but weren't necessarily fitness groups. And then over time, he built himself up as like an expert in fitness. And then guys just started coming to him and saying, hey, I need help with this. Can you help me? And that's one of the biggest techniques he used.
Yeah, that's all. Because if you go into another, like using that example right there, like I whenever I did my online training, it was called Project Dad Bod. And so I was looking for that dad, 35 to 45. If I went to other dad fitness groups, like it's going to look pretty shady and they're going to instantly know what you're up to because they're going to look at your profile like, man, I can let this guy in. So instead of trying to go in there and steal from somebody else that what they've created, what you want to do is find like each one of these, when you're breaking it down, like your dream client, right? You've got your characteristics and everything. You've got your target market and you've got your niche. So your characteristics is like the thing we were talking about, like some of the psychographics and like what makes that person unique and what you like about them. The target market, that's those demographics and like the age, sex, city, like income, those kind of things. And then the niche is the area of expertise that you serve within those two things. So those first two things, those character traits in your target market that make up your dream client, guys, there's 1,000 different niches that just serve those. There's accountants that serve those niches. There's doctors that serve those niches. There's auto mechanic places that serve those niches. So what you need to do is you need to know somebody has already gathered those characteristics and target markets that you like. Go be the fitness expert in those different ways. And that's the niche that you can go, because people that have created those groups already, they're looking for ways to add more value to their group. So if you can come in there as the fitness niche to add value to it, that's how you're going to stand out and be successful.
That's actually one thing I thought about as you were talking. If, say, you join a Facebook group and you have a fitness business, but the group ain't fitness related, it's a lot easier to keep how should I say it, a really good relationship with like the group owners, because you're not like trying to do exactly what they're trying to do. As long as you're helping their audience, they're totally fine with it. Because right now you're tapping into my audience, but we're not in the same thing. I can easily refer them over to you, and I can know that you'll help them, or you can do the same thing, vice versa.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why we're on this podcast. Like, not a big surprise to anybody here. Like, if you want to know what Tony Robbins always has this quote, success leaves clues. Like, guys, copy this. Literally, go find a podcast that also connects and serves your niche, but doesn't do the exact same thing with you, and go connect with them. Like, there is literally like thousands. Trust me, I did this because I paid an assistant to script it out for me. There are thousands of fitness podcasts out there. So that's just another huge opportunity for you. There's already people that have gathered your target market that they're looking to serve. Go there and be that fitness expert for it.
Awesome. So one last question I want to ask you is, you have a ton of experience in fitness and in business. If you could go back in time and give yourself a piece of advice, like not change anything necessarily, but just give yourself a piece of advice, what would you give you, whether it be fitness related or business related?
Yeah. Awesome question. I would go back to Sean probably about 8 to 10 years ago, and I would tell him all of those cheesy, sappy fitness or business quotes and stuff and books that you read. That's actually the thing that you need to be doing, because I know I see so many people do this and I know it just because I did it. Like, when you first start out in business, you're looking for the tactic. Like, you think, and you see this with people doing with anything, even with their health and fitness. Like, man, what's the one exercise I need to be doing, or the one supplement I need to be taking, or what's the one marketing tactic I need to do? And you're thinking that like there's like this missing thing that you're hunting for. And once you find that, then you'll make it, and then you'll have success. But what people don't often realize until after they've been in a long time is the big secret to it is consistency. Like, just show up every day, be organized, own your schedule, be super locked in and disciplined with time management. Do the exact same thing every day, have a schedule. Like, all of this like boring, like system stuff that you see, like all the cheesy sales books and business books about, like, that's really what you need to be doing right now. Because if you build a solid foundation, everything else is just going to be easy to scale upon.
And that's also really relatable as like people in fitness. Because everyone who is really into fitness knows that if you're not consistent with your fitness, nothing's going to happen. Yeah. And same thing, if you're not consistent in your business, nothing's going to happen. But thanks so much, Sean, for being on the show. This was amazing. Where can people find your coaching, and like where can people find you online?
Yeah, absolutely. So come hang out with me. Check out our website. It's EntreFitCoaching.com if you are a real fitness professional. So if fitness is your life as a career, you're a gym owner, you're a personal trainer, or even an online trainer, and you're looking to create, market, and scale your online fitness business, love the opportunity to talk to you and show you about what makes us so special and unique. It's EntreFitCoaching.com. And then the best way to connect with me on social is Instagram. It's at Sean Garner, SeanGarner.
Well, thank you so much, Sean.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Business Pump Podcast. Don't forget to like, comment, and hit that subscribe button. And stay connected with Michael on social media at BMichaelGroff on all platforms.